You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
وتجل من هناك لشوارزنيجر.
Va a pegarle el Ronaldinho Gaucho. Ya lo hace. Pierna derecha, directo al arco. ¡Golazo! 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 ¡Golazo!
This is Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio, your new live show about the beautiful game in all its glory, with Duane, Rollins and Kevin Laramee. MLS, EPL, La Liga, Champions League, all is fair game. Powered by the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us at sportspodcastingnetwork.com.
Good day, good night, and welcome to Soccer Today. Kevin Laramee here. Duane Rollins is on assignment today. And when we talk about the magic of the FA Cup, it was not necessarily magical yesterday. It was actually a little bit more difficult for Liverpool than anticipated. But yes, they got the job done at the end, 1-0 versus Liverpool. We will be talking about this later on in the show today. To start the show, big news that are coming out today in Minnesota. Target, the very big company in the United States, targets the store chain. It created 73.5 billion in revenue, if I'm not mistaken, per year. It's a crazy big sponsor for Minnesota United for their kit. So the pun is they'll have a bullseye not on their back but on their chest this year, as Target becomes Minnesota's first kit sponsor. Even over the years when they were in the NASL, they did not have a kit sponsor. They had Mall of America and other companies being sponsor of on the back and on the sleeves, but never had a title sponsor for their kit. They do now. Target to sponsor Minnesota United FC's jersey and Major League Soccer as a whole. So for the Minnesota-based company, it's a very important move for their restructuring of their branding and their sports marketing advertising dollar, basically. Target has been known over the last 3 decades to sponsor motorsport, auto racing, IRL, especially Indy. Remember, Chip Ganassi and Target has been partners for a very long time. Now, in 2015, in July of 2016, Target announced it would be ending its 27-year sponsorship of IndyCar, and that is made to reflect the evolution of the brand of Target, the evolution of the demographic and the target customers that Target do want to attract to their store. They want to go more with the Hispanic, the new generation, the millennials, the up and coming 1835 that will be shopping for the next 50 to 60 years. They are the new customer fan base that Target want to reach in Major League Soccer sponsorship. And Minnesota, especially for the Twin Cities region, it is one of the reasons why Target decided to sponsor Minnesota and Major League Soccer. So for Major League Soccer, for Minnesota, it's a great announcement. I love, me personally, just a kit and sponsor freaks. Yeah, I know it's not necessarily the most against modern football way to look at things, but I do like to see big blue chip sponsors for the team. It represents, it's almost a indication of your statute as a team. Like if you are a big team, if you are a big brand that you are to expand your borders, trying to get a lot of fans across North America or the world, big blue chip company will try to associate with you, so they have their logo in front of your jersey. And having big blue chip sponsors like Xbox for Seattle, like BMO, Big Bank of Montreal for Montreal and Toronto. It's a big bank in Canada. And a lot of big name sponsor like this. Yeah, across the league, you have smaller ones. If you go to Atlanta, it's a smaller type of branding for their sponsors. You have other in the league that don't even have some. So when you have a big name company like Target committing to sponsor a kit for Minnesota and the league itself, I think it shows that it's going in the right direction. So you can read more about this story by West Burdine on 55-1. Another story about Minnesota. Mark Watson, former Earthquakes assistant coach and interim head coach, and assistant for Orlando, has been hired by Minnesota as well to be a assistant coach with Adrian Heath. The two have worked together in the past and now will work together in Minnesota. So that gives another cog in the wheel. Minnesota's coaching staff are now filled. It's time to get the roster done, but they're having now at least people in place to get that done. Mark Watson, former Canadian international, now head coach. Well, not head coach, sorry. Now assistant coach for head coach Adrian Heath. We are talked a lot in the last few weeks, Duane and I, about a situation with Manchester City, a player in the Premier League. Gabriel Jesus, Brazilian wonderkind, Brazilian super prospect, was supposed to join Man City. It took forever because of the transfer and the international certificate. There was maybe a third party involved in the signing and the contract and the transfer. So that has been taken care of, and Gabriel Jesus has been introduced to Manchester City supporters. He will make his debut very soon for Manchester City. It's official. He is there. Gabriel Jesus is now part of Manchester City. He talks about commitment to win for the future, about the plan, probably because of Pep, but because of the ambitions that Manchester City had, because of the money behind their ambitions, which makes it the feasibility of their ambition is there. That is the reason why he chose to go play for Manchester City. So when you look at Gabriel Jesus, it's maybe one of those new signings that was generated not just because of Pep, let's face it, but the mix of Pep himself being the manager at City combined with City's ambition, City's money, City's recent history over the last 5 years of either being title contenders, title champions, or being in the conversation has led to City now being able to sign players like Brazilian international wonderkin super prospect Gabriel Jesus. Just to go back to MLS here for a second, we talked. I know I'm going from A to Z to go back to A to go back to Z. Just bear with me for a second. Jermaine Jones has signed with LA. So I guess that free agent tweets and all that, it was right and it was wrong at the same time. Technically, he wasn't a MLS free agent, but behind the scenes, he probably chose where he wanted to go. He knew where he wanted to go. He knew who wanted him, and they found a way to get it done. The Galaxy have signed Jermaine Jones. Jermaine Jones will join Dos Santos. And speaking of Dos Santos' brother, Jonathan, is very closely rumored to be joining the LA Galaxy as well for the 2017 season. So Giovanni and Jonathan dominating the Western Conference in LA with Jermaine Jones and other. Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that's the new direction that the Galaxy are taking. It's not just about big name, it's about big rewards. Jermaine Jones is a big name. He was successful in the last two stints, but in MLS, but there was some behind the scenes. There was some burning the bridges type of attitude on both sides in the last two clubs in Major League Soccer. We'll see how the Galaxy deals with Jermaine Jones. We'll see how Jermaine Jones adapts to LA, because that will be the case. It will be an adaptation period. LA has a year to get ready for their new rival. They have a year to get ready for LAFC. And if you were at the draft, if you were close to the draft, at certain occasion, LAFC supporters manifested themselves a lot louder. Sometimes they were bigger in numbers, but majority of the time they were bigger in presence. And that is one of the reasons why the LA Galaxy cannot allow themselves to have a bad season, not just on the pitch, but in the stands, in the market, to get that presence, to get that identity, to get behind our team at all cost attitude that LAFC's fans have right now. It's easier to do when your team didn't even have a practice session yet to get behind it. It's just positive from then. But for the Galaxy, they have to build momentum. They have a year to build fan momentum. So when LAFC comes in, they don't take all their fans. That's basically what they have to do, and it's not going to come easy, and it's not just going to come uh, by raising your hand and saying, "Okay, it's our turn." No, it's going to take some work. Maybe the direction they're taking on the roster with the big overhaul, the fact that Donovan is not back, Robbie Keane is not back, the fact that you have Jonathan Dos Santos might be joining the LA Galaxy, other Joao Pedro, apparently a Portuguese, joining the LA Galaxy as well. A lot of movement on the personnel of the Galaxy will result in a very different team. New coach, new identity, especially a new attitude. So we'll see how it shapes this year. But they have a year to do it. Because next year, LAFC apparently coming in hot as well, just like in Atlanta, with big names and making a splash in the offseason a year from now. That will be very interesting to me to see if a year from now we will have a LAFC crazy offseason by big names. Maybe Zlatan or Ronaldo. All right, I'm exaggerating here. But this is the type of big news that in 12 months we might be talking about when we're talking about the LAFC LA Galaxy rivalry. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the FA Cup, the magic of the cup, the end of the replays yesterday, and former FC Montreal player found a job in the USL, then in the States, and we'll give a little bit of news about the Canadian Premier League.
You are listening to Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio. Visit sportspodcastingnetwork.com for more.
And I'm back. Kevin Laramee joining you for Soccer Today. Today, Duane Rollins is on assignment. A little teaser before the break. A former FC Montreal player, Mastan Balkashar, has found a job. He has found a team in the USL with the Colorado Springs Switchback. Very happy for Mastan Kashar. One of the great goals in the USL last year, in nomination for Goals of the Year. Mastan Kashar has a great look on the ball. When he gets close to the ball, that confidence, that ability to raise his head, see what he's doing, either launch a teammate or get in a position where he can create a chance, a threat, an opportunity going forward. Looking forward to seeing Mastan Kashar play in the USL again in 2017. Happy for some FC Montreal players finding a job, landing on their feet, finding another place to play in the USL, and we'll see if some other, maybe in the NASL, or even get a chance to go to a Major League Soccer training camp. I expect a few of them to appear with Ottawa, but we'll see where most of them land. But now it's a few now. We've seen Marco Dominguez in Cincinnati and Mastan Kashar going to Colorado. Speaking of FC Montreal, USL, and the Premier League, one little bit of news, or more a timetable. When we say we all, Duane has been talking about for years. Anthony Dotero of Red Guard Radio has been talking about it for years too. Probably the two loudest voices about the Canadian Premier League in Canada, Duane and Anthony. Soon, you can maybe, and it's a timetable here that we've mentioned timetables before, but apparently, from multiple sources, the timetable for the announcement would be about a month and a half from now. 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Don't quote me on it, and maybe not to the day, but in that time span, you might be able to watch a press conference about the Canadian Premier League. And again, here, the CPL Canadian Premier League title, it's a working title. It's just something that's been designated. So we all know what we're talking about. What we're talking about is a league of our own. It's a league in Canada. It's a league for Canadians, by Canadians, with a majority of Canadians playing for the benefit of Canadian soccer. And that might happen. It already kind of is happening with the hire of Paul Byrne, the first official employee of the Canadian Premier League. Now, with this timetable, maybe a month and a half from now, with an announcement, it will be just like a big ball of snow going downhill. That boulder gets bigger and bigger and it gets momentum, and that's what we want. And a month and a half from now might be the start of that momentum building that will end up with a league in Canada. Let's cross our fingers. This is what we all want. This is what we all think is necessary in this country to help Canadian soccer as a whole and to help other like players. There's going to be foreigners and there's going to be a lot of Americans playing in the Canadian Premier League. So even for American players, it's maybe a way to go in the future if you want to experience something different. And who knows? Maybe like somebody really wants to play for Manitoba, for Winnipeg, Nobody knows that. I mean, maybe American players want to experience the Premier League if it happens in Canada. So a month and a half from now could be the announcement for the Canadian Premier League. Now, let's move on to the FA Cup, the magic of the FA Cup. Before we go there, we didn't really talk about it last week, but unfortunately, Graham Taylor passed away on January 12, 2017 at the age of 72. A legendary figure in England. He coached the England national team between 1990 and 93. He was a legend coach at Watford, Lincoln City. He had some stint with Aston Villa twice, Watford twice as well for a long period of time, and for Wolverhampton Wanderers for a season as well. Graham Taylor was known to be a gentleman, known to have a way about his coaching style, managing the player aspect. He was not the tactical, the best one, but he could manage a locker room. He could manage players. He could manage egos, men. He was a manager of men. And Graham Taylor, you would never find people talking behind his back. Graham Taylor was a beloved figure. And it's kind of fitting that a team that's having success and got their place to the fourth round, Lincoln City, was his first team that he coached. He played for that team. That's where he retired as a player in 1972, and he became the coach in 1972 up until 1977 of Lincoln City FC. And that small league, small team from League Two and non-conference from time to time, depending on which year and promotion, Graham Taylor really became a manager at that club. And it's kind of fitting that club, while Graham Taylor passed away, they continue the run in the FA Cup. They're now going to the fourth round to face Brighton. We talked about it yesterday, but I think the connection with the unfortunate passing of Graham Taylor and Lincoln City's success in the FA Cup, Graham, keep an eye on Lincoln City, will you? So I like the way that is going. We mentioned it earlier on the show. Liverpool had a difficult time getting rid of Plymouth Argyle, but they finally did. It was a 1-0 victory for Liverpool on the road. Plymouth got unlucky. They got like two really good chances late. Couldn't get to Barry. Liverpool got a few chances as well to get a second goal, but they hit the woodworks, so they were not able to get those two goals. So unfortunately for Plymouth, they didn't get the job done to get an even bigger matchup in the fourth round. It stops in the third for Plymouth Argyle. Southampton 1, Norwich City 0. The Premier League team resisted the Championship team for the win, 1-0 at home. Newcastle 3, Birmingham 1. A battle of the Championship. Newcastle are doing fairly well in the Championship. I think they're first in the table right now, and probably, if not for sure, will be back in the Premier League next year. An unfortunate season in the championship for Newcastle, where they got relegated last year from the Premier League. Crystal Palace 2, Bolton 1. We talked about those games earlier. So the big matchup for the fifth round, that's what you're asking. Fourth round, sorry. Can't speak today, you know. That's what happens when I'm by myself. I have nobody to correct me. The matchup that gets me excited that will happen in a week's time, Derby County Leicester. Interesting. It's a Derby County slowly becoming a team that might be even challenging to get the promotion from the championship. Are playing Leicester, the defending champion of the Premier League, in the FA Cup. Other big matchup. Accrington Stanley, a League Two team now still battling in the FA Cup, will travel to Borough to have maybe a chance. It's the way Borough looks at that, but Borough really will fancy their chance to have a easier matchup in the fourth round to get them a fifth round berth. Crystal Palace Man City. Interesting. Will Sam Allardyce's new tactics as manager of Crystal Palace pay dividend against a struggling Manchester City team that will probably not favor the FA Cup matchup, that fixture, as a priority? Oxford, Newcastle, interesting. Chelsea, Brentford, Tottenham, Wickham. Wickham Wanderers of League Two, that's a fourth tier of English football, are going to play a Premier League team. Can Wickham go on the road and create an upset? I don't know. But I love those fourth to first tier matchup. Burnley, my new favorite team in the Premier League, with Joey Barton. Joey Barton. Will he start that game? He was used as a sub last week. And he scored the winning goal on a free kick. They're playing Bristol City. Rochdale, Huddersfield, Southampton, Arsenal Premier League match here. So a few interesting games. But for me, the two teams that I will continue to follow, that it's going to be tough for Sutton. They're facing Leeds. They're going to face a motivated Leeds. At least it's in Sutton United. Sutton will benefit from this fourth round berth. The prize money, the tickets for a club like Sutton United playing Leeds United, even though it's not a Man City, it's not a Manchester United, it's not Arsenal, it's not Chelsea. For them, that Leeds game is their final. It's their Sunday at Wembley. But it's a Sunday in Wimbledon at Sutton versus Leeds. And Man United, Wigan Athletic. That's a matchup that's interesting because Wigan in the championship, Wigan a few years ago won the FA Cup, got deep in the tournament, and were able to create a lot of upset in those runs. Can they redo this? Can they claim a United? You beat United, you go to the fifth round, and you establish yourself as a very good team. That is a possibility. Wigan were a giant killer in the past, just like Reading. They just faced each other. Wigan beat Reading. Now it's for Wigan to maybe go to Old Trafford and get the job done. Those games are on the weekend of Friday, January 27th to Sunday, January 29th. Now, I'm not a paparazzi. I'm not a gossiper per se. But it's been two separate sources now. It might mean nothing. It might be a vacation. It might be a guy that just looks like him, and that's the caveat. So do I say the name? Do I say the name of a U.S. men's national team player that was walking around on a very popular Montreal street in front of a very high-end and fancy hotel? Do I name the guy? That's always a question. It's always what I think of. Two different sources apparently saw him today. Clint Dempsey in Montreal. Is he in Montreal? I don't know. Is it news? No, it's speculation. It's maybe just a guy that really looks like him, and we don't even know if Clint's gonna play in 2017. If he plays, maybe it's with the Sounders, maybe it's somewhere else. So why the speculation? I don't know. I don't think it was anything to do with soccer. We'll just see how it is. But I don't think it was. I don't even know if it was Clint Dempsey. I don't even think it was. If I was Clint Dempsey, would I be in Montreal in January? Maybe if you have a professional reason for it. But would I be here? No, I don't even want to be here. It's cold. It's rainy. It's snowy. My voice is all stuffy because of it. And no, bring back summer. What would even be here? I don't think it's here. I don't think it's him. And I don't think I'm going anywhere with that because it's just a rumor. It's just a witness account of seeing a guy that might resemble Clint Dempsey walking on Sherbrooke. So it might not mean anything. Do I think Clint Dempsey could be a good addition to the Montreal Impact? Never even thought about that before. Never anticipated that could even be a possibility. And I don't think I would have pinpointed Clint Dempsey as what Montreal needs. Maybe it's something we have to think about. Maybe it's something that we have to maybe look into. But I don't think Clint Dempsey was in Montreal walking in front of the Ritz. I think it's just some case your eyes see what your brain wants them to. And maybe that's the case right here today on Sherbrooke Street. Until tomorrow, I'm Kevin Laramee. Have a great soccer. You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.